tradition, it is now time for the speeches. I'd first like to invite the father of the bride. Please stand and say a few words.
Speak.
Looking at you.
Is that it? Is it on? No?
No, it's not. We can't hear you. There you go.
How's that? Am I hidden enough? Just think it was going so well up until now. Right. Well, it gives me the greatest pleasure.
We know.
When it used to, yes. On behalf of myself and Chris and Alan, obviously it gives me the greatest pleasure to welcome you all here to our country home. For those of you who've particularly come so far to see me in my Toad Hall outfit, I'm very touched. Or at least I hope to be. Does my bum look big in the... It just started. There's pages of this, yeah? I welcome you all. There are two very special gentlemen that really would have loved this too. And for all we know, they're together looking down on us, enjoying a glass of heavenly nectar. I'm going to just say some thanks. He's crying because you're taking him away. Just a couple of thanks first. You're always nervous at sort of mass catering events that the food won't be quite as warm as the white wine. And the chicken won't have quite as much breast as the old waitresses. But this has been, I mean, excellent, fantastic. I'd like to thank David and his crew. I know that it's the remit of the groom to thank the wedding organisers, but I am going to just say two thank yous. Because, of course, the main wedding organisers have been Tom and Kasia themselves, who have spent, months and months putting this together, and all the stuff on the table they've been collecting as sort of vintage stuff and fairs and so on, just to make it that sort of bit special. And it's already been, I think, a unique and special day. I think you'll agree. I don't know where they got all the ideas. Yes, I'm not sure where the ideas came from, but one of the rehearsals, I'm sure I saw Kate Middleton nipping out the back door. So I was worried that I was going to spoil it all, so I had a speech professionally prepared. Only when it finally turned up last week, it turned out to have been written by Jeremy Clarkson. So that had to go in a bin. So I was on the internet, Idiot's Guide, a bit quick. Lots of advice. Keep it mature and sober, as you will be so much older than the best man. Compliment all the ladies on their fantastic radiant suntans, as they will have just got back from their summer holiday. Be sentimental. Well, I can do mental. No old, bad, dubious jokes. Well, that's my entire... Anyway. So I've given my best jokes to Tom and Alan, so you can look forward to hearing them. It's my excuse. And of course I have to keep my powder dry, because I have two other daughters. And Mrs. Bennett and I are hoping that we'll be able to catch another couple of suitors. So I need to keep 2/3 of my stuff back, And a bit of a gale warning, because I can't get through an edition of MasterChef these days without bursting into tears. If I'd realised what today's ceremony was going to be like, I'd have taken out shares in Kleenex. I think so. It might be a few hesitations, but I understand we've got 3 hours to kill that before the ban. But then I thought, well, you know, it's over 30 years since I've been allowed to get up and say something in front of the family without being interrupted or disagreed with.
So why shouldn't I be an exception?
So I've used the Viz guide to marriage, and here goes. So first, what can I say about Kasia? Well, as you've seen in the slide, she was a funny-looking baby. True, it's true. I mean, well, she had her father's hair. Well, she was bald for a year. And you could tell she was funny-looking because people would look in the pram. It's true, this, and they go, "Oh, nice smile." Anyway, as you can all see, what a wonderfully beautiful swan she has kept there. As our older friends will know, I was seriously ill when Kasia was born. And she was sort of that something to look after and something to live for. And, you know, how does the story end type of thing, you know? And indeed, it's been a fantastic and fascinating story so far, and will of course continue to be, I'm sure. And I'm sure that with Bo's recent experience, wishing to see Kasia flourish and share things like today has been a motivation for her too.
Yeah.
A while ago, I retrieved a square of pink paper from a bin in our house for my scrapbook. It had been pinned to Kasia's back during a run for life, and it said, "I'm running for my mum and dad, who both survived cancer and are an inspiration." So you can imagine how I felt. Kasia's always been committed and hard-working, to her ballet as a kid, to her schoolwork, to her friendships, and with her work ethic. You'll all know of her brilliant university career. I was surprised after she got her first in English. I got a phone call from her saying that she was having trouble getting on interview lists for buying jobs because she was up against other candidates who've done business-related degrees. She thought she might have to do another 3 years. Now this is 6 years for a woman to learn how to buy. Kasia's always wanted to make us proud, and in many ways I'm as proud of that desire as I am, of course, of her achievements, which have been many and broad. From her friendships, from her catalytic abilities with people, from her academic career, of course, and for her love and support for her sisters. And I guess you might have noticed a degree of pride on my face as I walked her down the aisle. I can't do this. As I walked her down the aisle to give her away as a wonderful, lovely, beautiful and multi-accomplished young lady. I hope I got that right. I couldn't read all of her writing. We always knew that Kasia would travel. From when she could first toddle, she disappeared across the allotments at the back of the house. And on our first foreign holiday, when she could just walk, she disappeared in a different direction to that which we were going. And even though we strode off in the way we were supposed to be going, it was us that went back to retrieve her. Actually, I realise now that's more an indication of how she always gets her own way. And I guess you all know her first sentence, because she still uses it. It was, "More presents me." I said, she wasn't even 2. I said, "Did you say more presents me?" She said, yes, big ones. That was Christmas, and she's always loved Christmas, which is why we're all up here in the snow. Now then, what about Tom? I mean, as a father of daughters, you do wonder and worry as to what they might bring home. But, you know, particularly if it's going to be right, how they're going to be treated. It's such a big sort of world out there. The only stipulation, we didn't interfere, was that she shouldn't marry an architect. Because we were hoping she would meet somebody who was going to keep us in the style to which we've yet to become accustomed. But Tom's one of those rare things. I mean, not just that he's an architect with a job, but his architecture is a sort of an interesting thing, really. Because to be accomplished in architecture, you need not only your mind, but your eye and your hand. And Tom's brilliant academic career and the respect he gets from his employers and so on is testament to those abilities. At his stag weekend, his friends were asked to comment on what they liked about Tom. I didn't have enough paper to put it all down on, but you could trust him, he was interested, he was a good friend. Also, of course, he's a great family person, a good cook and very patient. All qualities he wouldn't have needed if he wasn't marrying Kasia. I mean, we're really pleased that they found each other. We've known him for a while. And one of the interesting things is, you know, in the lineup, there's not many people in this room that Bo and I don't know, because it's been a long-lasting relationship. We've seen it grow and flourish. And as they say, I don't feel as though I'm losing a daughter, but gaining someone who can change the light bulbs without a ladder. Alan and I have worked out we've got the same speech. Unfortunately, I get up first. I don't know if you actually know how they met. Apparently these days, to meet somebody who lives around the corner, you go to Newcastle. Kasia, as you know, studied English literature, majored in Mills and Boon, and decided that she too... Sorry. The Brontes and romantic, you know. She decided that she'd look for her own rugged outdoor Heathcliff type, and was wandering past the Newcastle Fishing Club notice. And saw a notice, wanted, woman to make love and dig worms. Must have own motor. P.S. Send photo of motor. Just the job. Having travelled widely in the East, she was also familiar with the Chinese proverb, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish and you can get rid of him for a whole weekend. I should warn you, Tom, Kasia kept practising the order of service in the house. The aisle that you walk down, the altar where you make your vows, and the celebratory hymn. She kept repeating, aisle, altar, hymn. They very nearly didn't have a church wedding. The original plan, talking to Kate Middleton, was the cathedral. But unfortunately they failed the celibacy test. The bishop, as they're not regular churchgoers, said, well, if you're going to get married here, I want 3 weeks of abstinence, moral commitment. You come back in 3 weeks and you tell me that's been the case. Well, they went back and Tom said, well, the first week we were doing all right. Second week it was a bit of a struggle. And the third week, I'm afraid, I caught Kasia bending over the freezer to get some meat. And I just couldn't resist the passion any longer. Bishop said, "You're not welcome in the cathedral." Tom said, "No, we can't go to Tesco's either." It was, of course, a perfect setting. I mean, it's a wonderful venue. Apparently, after the protocol is, after embarrassing the happy couple, I had to give advice on marriage. Well, if love is blind, marriage is an eye-opener. I'm not really the best person to give advice on marriage. I've only had one. But we've managed a few years, haven't we, Petal?
Yes.
Our next anniversary is Rust. And we've sort of got to that stage where to sort of keep the interest alive and find new ways to annoy each other. But in this, I would have to bow to Tom's expertise, who was already far surpassed what I would dare to do. He walked into our bathroom and deliberately, not accidentally, deliberately, took Bo's contact lens case, threw her contact lenses down the sink so he could use the empty case. I mean, it's brilliant. Actually, it's genius because he got away with it. Because along with the new contact lenses, it became a realisation she should have had new ones used before. He got away with it. My usual advice for harmonious marriage, as those of you who heard me speak before will know, is to agree about decisions and your love life. So the husband makes all the big decisions and the wife makes all the small decisions. So in this relationship, the way that would work is that Kasia would decide if they're going to have a family, buy a house, change the car, and the big decisions that Tom would make is whether we should pull out of Afghanistan, Rooney should play for England again, and then to keep your love life fresh and alive, a romantic meal every week followed by a different hotel. Usually works best when the husband goes on a Tuesday and the wife... I will end, you'll be pleased to know, by correcting an assertion by the vicar this afternoon. I don't know if we've only just found out, that was her first wedding. No, she did well. She didn't say the Holy Goat, like in 4 weddings and a funeral. But she did get the sex of God wrong. I always thought he was an hermaphrodite. I will tell you a Bible story about marriage. First marriage, of course, Adam and Eve. God saw Adam looking a bit sad in the Garden of Eden. He said, "What's up, Chuck?" He said, "Well," he said, "I don't want to complain, because it's beautiful and plentiful, but I'm a bit lonely." God said, "I'll make for you a woman. It'll be the most fantastic, intelligent, beautiful and caring creature I've ever created. She will know exactly what you want even before you do, and dutifully and harmoniously satisfy your every desire. She will be a perfect companion." There you up, says Adam, "That sounds fantastic." "Sounds a bit expensive though." Oh yes, says God, "there's now 3 years." He said, "That will cost you an arm and a leg, an eye and a kidney." And Adam said, he said, "What can I get for a rib?" And the rest is history. But in going forward with my daughter, Tom, I'd like you to remember that story and the significance of the rib, because it was taken not from the head that she might rule over you, not from the foot to be trodden under you, but from your side to be a companion, under your arm to be protected by you, and from close to your heart to be loved by you. Shucks. And for the doctors amongst you, it's the only bone that regenerates itself. So he wasn't daft. That just leaves me to raise a toast to the new Mr. and Mrs. Lawrence, May you both be blessed with happiness that grows, love that lasts, and a peaceful and prosperous life together. Thank you. Cheers. If you haven't picked this up, the venue for tomorrow morning's after do is round at our house from 10 Rustlings Road. We'll give you a sat nav location if you need it later.